Faneuil Hall was built and gifted to the city in 1742 by the wealthiest merchant living in Boston, Peter Faneuil. Faneuil Hall has played host to impassioned speakers from Susan B. Anthony and Oliver Wendell Holmes to Samuel Adams, always living up to its nickname, the Cradle of Liberty. Susan B. Anthony spoke on the subject of women's suffrage and played the role in the women's rights movement. One weekly journal she had written, called The Revolution, promoted women's rights to suffrage and equality. Along with Susan B. Anthony, Samuel Adams gave passionate speeches on the topic of the American Revolution. Other impassionate speakers gave important speeches speaking out against the oppressive laws of the British and the unjustified taxes put upon the colonists living in the colony. These inspirational speeches became the stepping stone for America's desire to obtain independence from Great Britain. Meetings for debates on elections were held in the Great Hall along with much banter about James Otis's famously coined phrase, "No taxation without representation." Faneuil Hall was a site for meetings where people would come to discuss issues. It became a place of freedom of speech, a place open to different ways and ideas. It was an area where the citizens of Boston could lecture, protest, and fight for their freedom. It became a place where Samuel Adams gathered citizens to fight for their independence from Great Britain. An example of the citizens fighting for freedom and independence is when the colonists protested the Molasses Act, which was replaced by the Revenue Act of 1764, but better known as the Sugar Act. The Sugar Act changed the tax rates on raw sugar and molasses imported from foreign colonies. It also placed new taxes on silk, wine, coffee, pimento, and indigo. The colonists also protested against the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act required stamps to be placed on most printed materials, including newspapers, pamphlets, posters, wills, mortgages, and licenses. In response to the Stamp Act, Bostonians tarred and feathered local stamp distributors and collectors. Another example would be the Boston Tea Party, when colonists jumped aboard the ships and dumped the chest of tea into the sea. This was in response to the Tea Act, which did not permit the colonists to smuggle or purchase Dutch tea. This was to increase the business in the British East India Company. Another act put upon the colonists was the Quartering Act. It forced the colonies to pay more for their own defense. If the colonies did not provide barracks for British troops, the act stated that troops could stay in taverns, inns, and barns, and the colonies had to pay their rent. In response to these acts, a group called the Sons of Liberty was organized by a merchant from Connecticut named Isaac Sears. The Stamp Act Congress was also created, and together they issued the Declaration of Rights and Grievances. Not only was Faneuil Hall used as a meeting place, but a marketplace as well. The marketplace included 3 other long granite buildings called the North, Quincy, and South Markets. Faneuil Hall was founded as a central marketplace for livestock, meat, vegetables, and dairy products that could be purchased conveniently on a daily basis. As England began imposing taxes, Faneuil Hall became an important meeting place for the Sons of Liberty as they resisted taxes and discussed the important issues of the day. Leading up to the American Revolution, the building became the first town hall in Boston, and the Great Hall on the second floor held public sessions where Bostonians debated issues, elected town officials, and voted local taxes. The hall set scene for many meetings where Bostonians voiced their opinions against the oppressive policies of the Parliament. Today, Faneuil Hall is more of a marketplace than a place for discussing town matters. However, today people gather in the Great Hall to hear about how much history Faneuil Hall has to offer.